Hallelujah. Yeah. Although I can't, I got to be honest with you. I still haven't. It hasn't registered yet. I know
Uh,
I'm in a few. I'm in a couple survivors and pick'em leagues, and it's like I haven't even looked at anything. I'm like, well, I guess I should probably do that tomorrow.
well,
But
yeah,
I just
two
haven't.
days.
You know,
2 days we have a game.
I
Thursday. That's
know.
amazing. That's a football game, and then obviously this week we have a skins game. But before we get into the games, we had a 53-man cut down, and very interesting stuff came out of this. What did you think about the cut downs? What did you read or what did you see? How did you feel about the 53 man?
No, I didn't see any major surprises. Obviously, I was surprised at Adrian Peterson, but then after I had a chance to think about it, I realized that they're really trying to go for youth, and I think if they felt good about their other running backs, I was okay with it. I think that, and maybe AP's just taking the high road and saying everything the right way, but didn't seem like he was too surprised or upset by it, and he's got another team to play for. So, like I said, there wasn't anything else that I went, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. I don't know, maybe you felt differently.
I could, I think I could kind of agree with that sentiment as far as there's no major surprises. I'm going to go through what the changes, all the changes were, but I think I can go. Besides the Adrian Peterson, I think that caught everybody off guard. There's also some fan favorites like Cam Sims didn't make the team. We'll talk about that a little bit more, but that surprised some people. You have also Trey Quinn ended up not making the team. A lot of people didn't want him to make the team, but I thought he was going to make the team. I thought he was good enough to be
Yeah,
on the team.
after that, you're right. That was a little bit surprising to me too, but again, not shocking. But
But yeah, I can just go ahead and go through, and then if you have anything to add, feel free to interrupt me. But yep, of course, as you
oh, you
mentioned,
know I will.
yep, as forementioned by you, is Adrian Peterson was cut and he signs a 1 year deal with the Detroit Lions. And AP, as you said, he did talk to the media, and he said that Antonio Gibson had a lot of talent, and this was an offense built for him. He did add that AP believed that AP could also do this system. He thinks he can catch the ball out of the backfield and do some of the things that they wanted Antonio Gibson to do. But that's
Well,
what
that's not.
Gibson's built to do.
AP thinks he can do everything, so which
Yeah.
good for him because confidence is important. But I'm not surprised. I
Yeah.
could do that. Yeah, no crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of old NFL players talking about. He's like, I know Pat McAfee's talked about this, and it's like, have you ever told a coach, no, I can't do that? Like at the NFL level, like there's some, I guess, like upper echelon people that maybe like Trent Williams. That's like, no, I don't play guard. I'm a left tackle, and that's how it's going to be. But for most people, especially an AP situation where you're not in your prime anymore, you're trying to make a roster. It's like, yeah, I can do whatever you ask me to do, whatever gets me on this field, whatever gets me on the team. Like, I'm not going to
Right.
tell you no. Like, Pat McAfee specifically talks about how he never held a ball for a kick before in his life, and he bold-faced lied to the owner, Jim Irsay, and was
Oh
like,
yeah, I've seen
"Yep,
it all the
I've
time.
held it. Yep, I've held it." And he's like, "Nope." And Adam Vinatieri sent him down for a training camp, essentially, down in North Carolina, where he just sat there and learned how to hold. Yeah, Adam Vinatieri was like, "You are not messing up my career." But no, that's funny. But sticking with the running back room, right now, a lot of people are worried about this. J.D. McKissick is listed as the number one running back on the depth chart. And I just want to get people a little bit relaxed. I think that this might be a little bit of gamesmanship. Like, okay, Antonio Gibson's not our number one back, blah, blah, blah. But this backfield is going to be rotating. Like, J.D. McKissick is a third down back primarily. He can catch the ball out of the backfield really well. He can line up as a receiver. And he's not the biggest guy in the world. So he's not going to be our every down back. I would actually predict almost all four of these running backs, even week one, are going to see the field in some shape or form. Like, this is not going to
But
be...
you're saying that J.D. McKissick is going to be the running back on the first snap of the first play for the Redskins offense.
According to this depth chart, now.
No, I get that, but
Yeah.
do you think that that's going to be the case?
No, I do not. I think Antonio Gibson will be the first. But it's also all game plan dependent. So he very well could, as far as they come out in a shotgun formation and J.D. McKissic's your starting third down back, and he's going to be out there if you're in a shotgun formation. But Antonio Gibson could easily be out there as well. But I know when I played football in college, we had a script of 20 plays that we were going to run in the beginning, barring anything crazy. And it's like, okay, this is what we're running. We didn't have, and whatever we were running that play, that's the formation we're going to be in, right? That's the personnel group we're going to be in. So if we have 2 tight ends out there, then technically 2 tight ends started that game, but we would say one's the starter and one's the other, and there's other people that could be claimed as a starter as well. So it's not a big deal. I would just like to temper some worries. What is this J.D. McKissic? Yeah. Antonio Gibson's going to get plenty of play, and Peyton Barber on the field too.
Can I drop off the exit ramp just for a second? And
What's
your
up?
Senior day, that team you played against, that they all walked up to the line and looked at the coach. I don't remember the name of the team, but I'd never seen anything like that. But the coach called the play on the sideline.
Yeah.
But he basically
saw the line. A couple of teams have done it, yeah.
What's that?
A couple of teams done that throughout my college career. That's how they did things. But go ahead, explain what you were talking about.
No. I'm just saying that everybody from the linemen stood there at the line, looked over at the coach. He gave a hand signal and called a play, and then they executed the play. I hadn't seen that before. I thought that was very interesting. Back on track. Sorry.
Yeah, just to say, I also seen a team, I think it was Loris College out in the Midwest. They play a system where their linemen are 3 yards apart, foot to foot. So
Really?
Instead of being maybe a foot apart, it's ridiculous. 3 yards might be a little, but 2 yards, it's 6 feet at least.
Yeah.
Between their linemen, and so they played this huge spread offense. Literally, their line is even spread, and you think, oh well, you could get to the quarterback easily. Well, I mean, they obviously have different run lanes and different things that they could do from that formation, and you wouldn't want to run this at the NFL level against Chase Young, but it's just there's definitely some funky college level.
Hey, gotta be
plays.
Creative.
Yep. Moving on through the offense, we have Jeremy Sprinkle earned a spot on this team as the second tight end over Richard Rodgers, who I predicted to make the team. But that's good to see. Jeremy Sprinkle was not a draft pick by Ron Rivera, so it seems like he did enough to earn a spot on this team. And I know that Richard Rodgers was even cheaper, so he must have really shown that, you know what, he has some potential here as a young third-year tight end. Actually, he might be going into his 4th year now. But, yeah.
I think so.
So, that's awesome to see. And then, obviously, we talked about Marcus Ball was making a lot of noise, and he also made the team as the third tight end. So, we have Logan Thomas as our first, Jeremy Sprinkle, and Marcus Ball.
Well, and I think Sprinkle, and maybe I'm wrong, but seems very durable. Obviously, he's got some talent. As far as I'm concerned, he can block, but it's he doesn't get hurt unless I'm missing something.
No.
I mean,
yeah,
I don't recall him missing a game because of an injury, so that's got to count for something.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and I'm also sure this probably was a special teams move. He probably played some kickoff and different things like punt return and things so I think he probably was a more versatile player than an elder Richard Rodgers, so definitely some special teams consideration in that department as well. But yeah, I agree. He's not game breaking. He's not going to be your Travis Kelce or your George Kittles or your Antonio Gates or something crazy like that. But he's very capable at the position, and I don't mind him as our second tight end. I just thought that I liked Richard Rodgers a little bit better, but coaching staff did not agree. That's
and
the tight
Rodgers
end.
is older?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Richard Rodgers might be in his 30s now,
young 30s,
I
think that was against him because I think this coaching staff wants youth, so that played against him, I'm sure. But anyway, move along.
Yep. So they only ended up going with 5 receivers. So we have, of course, Scary Terry, Steven Sims as our second receiver, Dontrell Inman as a starter right now. Antonio Gandy Golden, a draft pick. But Isaiah Wright was not somebody on my radar, but towards the end, there was a lot of talk, like late last week, that the coaching staff really liked what they were seeing out of Isaiah Wright. And I don't know much about him, to be honest, but that's all. I'm glad he could make some noise. I thought that would have been a Jordan Veazey kind of player, as like he would make that step up instead, but apparently it was Isaiah Wright. I think he went to Clemson, if I remember right.
So, and while you're looking that up, so what exactly as a wide receiver?
Temple.
What's that? Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, what exactly as a wide receiver do you have to do to impress the coaches? Is it your hands? Is it running routes? Is it making, or is it just a combination of all those things? What are they looking at as a receiver? Obviously, they want you to have speed, but what is it that he did as a wide receiver that made them take notice? I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, definitely route running. Yeah, definitely route running is something that they're going to, like, if you have crisp routes and you can get open on your route. So I definitely would see
separation.
That. Yep, separation.
Like
yep.
Yep.
Obviously, every receiver is going to need hands. If you drop the ball, then you're not going to be a receiver long in the NFL. But I think probably what made the biggest difference is another special teams thing. That he probably was strong on special teams as well as showing talent at the receiving position. But they said that they liked him as a receiver. So what is his height? What is Isaiah? He's 6'2", 220, so he's a big-bodied individual as well. Not huge, but that's still plenty big.
No, that's a good size. Yeah, that's a good size as a receiver.
So I don't know what he ran as a 40 either. I'm going to look that up.
By the way, and while you're doing that, I was going to say I'm sure Cam Sims probably didn't make the team because of his hands. I think everything else he's got, but he just got stone hands sometimes. I
have talked about that now for a couple years now. That I definitely did not like his. It's not listed. It doesn't look like he ran the 40-yard dash. But I don't like his hands. He does way too many body catches, Cam Sims, for my liking. And this is somebody that Isaiah Wright, I'm sure, did a lot more hand catching and showed a bigger bodied receiver that they wanted, rather than a Trey Quinn, who's a little bit smaller, 6 foot, like 200. Cam Sims obviously is a huge body, 6'4", 6'5", something like that. But as I said, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, is a 6'5" wide receiver from Alabama does not get drafted. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you are getting looked at on the national stage week in and week out in the University of Alabama. He didn't play at Liberty or some Joe Blow D2 college.
Podunk University.
A 6'5" body not getting drafted from Alabama. It's really something we should have all seen coming, as far as he's not that good. Like, if he had,
and one thing, I can't remember the show I saw it on, but it was something about new ideas, or it wasn't Shark Tank, but it was a similar show to that, where this guy, he was coaching football, and he had a receiver training harness, and basically what it was the receiver put it on, and it had like a crossbar in front of him, and it basically didn't let him do body catches. So it was like, if you're going to catch the ball, you got to catch it with your hands.
Yeah, going around.
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
Like you're not, if you let it go into your chest, it's going to hit off the bar, and you're not going to catch it. So I thought that was an interesting idea, but maybe Cam Sims could have benefited from that. I don't know.
I mean, I've seen some big dudes with huge hands just can't catch. Like, how do you drop the ball? Your hands are twice mine, and I have way better hands than you. Like, that was something that I was good at, was able to catch the ball. I wasn't very fast. I wasn't very tall. I wasn't very big or anything. But I could catch the ball. And I had something people would consider small hands. I've been made fun of the Burger King Whopper commercial. Tim running down the field with small hands, holding down. It's like, but I could catch it.
Well, I can tell you right now, from a quarterback's perspective, that's the most important attribute. If I throw it to you, catch it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. And I've seen some dudes with huge hands, and you throw it to them, and they're like, and you're just, okay, I didn't realize it was that hard, but some people just don't know their body.
Hands.
Yep. Speaking of big guys, we're going to move on to our O-line. And Jerron Christian did end up getting the starting spot. But
Not a surprise, right?
it's not so much a spot, but I'm kind of surprised by this. Wes Martin apparently has earned the starting left guard spot, which I'm happily surprised. I'm glad that he earned it. But Wes Swetzer, he has experience down in Atlanta, and he was an experienced left guard. I would have thought that he could have come in and taken this spot from Wes Martin, but apparently Wes Martin held his ground and has earned a starting role, which I'm excited about. You know, 4th round pick in 2018. Awesome if we can get some starting potential out of that. And something that I've also noticed as an overall theme is a lot of draft picks. All 8 of our draft picks from this draft made the team. So, and as you said, we were going younger, but there's also draft picks from past. Cole Holcomb and Jimmy Moreland, Danny Johnson was not drafted. Greg Stroman was the corner. Different things like that. Like a lot of our draft picks in the last few years have been people that are continuing to be on this team years down the road, and even 6th and 7th rounders. That's huge.
Right, but okay, you can look at it two ways. The 8 made the team. That's a good thing, but it also could be that the people drafting don't want to look bad by cutting somebody. You understand? It's like, so it's a double-edged sword. Are they that talented? And I'm not saying this is the case, but it is also possible that if Ron Rivera is the guy making all the decisions and he picks somebody in the 6th round or the 7th round, he doesn't want to let him go because it's like, oh, maybe you didn't know what you were doing. So, and again, I'm not saying that's Ron, but that's always a possibility.
Yeah, I was just
my opinion.
I'm pretty sure a lot of 7th round picks don't make the team. 7th round picks make roster. How many make it if they get drafted in the 7th round? I don't have it here.
I would probably say less than 30%, if I had to guess.
This is a no-name guy, but he's saying their chances could range anywhere from 50% to 20% in the 7th round. So, but I would expect it to be lower than 50% success rate. So, people in the 7th round definitely get cut. We've cut 6th and 7th rounders as Redskins in the past.
But hold on a second. And I know you just pulled up something. That's fine. But what does that mean? It could be between 50% and 20%.
I couldn't tell you.
Did you look at the numbers, or did you not look at the numbers?
Maybe they're talking about different coaching staffs. Like different coaching staffs keep their.
It could be, it could be between 0 and 100%.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know what that means either. But
anyway,
fair enough.
Right.
Fair criticism there. But as I said, I was just glad to see. But and then the rest of the starting line. Yeah, the rest of the starting line, of course, is Chase Roullier, Brandon Sheriff, and Morgan Moses. But we're carrying 5 tackles on the roster, and in my opinion, that seems excessive. Excuse me, Cornelius Lucas, who right now is slated to be the backup for Morgan Moses, either really shined in practice to then earn a backup spot to Morgan Moses, or what I'm afraid of is Sadiq Charles is slow at learning this NFL style, or like the NFL level, and needs a lot more time because we obviously made the trade for David Sharp from Las Vegas last week. And so right now we're carrying 5, which, as I said, it could mean one or two things. Lucas looks really good, or Sadiq Charles does not look good. And we needed
What's the normal number, 4?
I mean,
you'd think you'd have to have at least a backup for each tackle position. So
well, that's why they call them swing. That's why they call them swing tackles. I mean, usually a tackle can play both tackles positions. So 4, I feel as though that, as I said, I don't know the normal, but to me personally, that seems excessive when you only have 2 that play. And offensive linemen are not people that rotate. This isn't defensive linemen where, okay, keeping 6 defensive linemen for 3 positions, that makes sense because they're rotating in and out. That not one guy plays all the time. Offensive lines are people that play every down. So carrying 3 backups for 2 positions of players that don't come out of the game seemed excessive to me.
Yeah. No, I get that. I was just trying to figure out what the norm was because I would think
Because right now
three
we're only
wouldn't be
carrying.
enough.
Well, right now we're only carrying 3 guards. We have Wes Martin, Brandon Sheriff, and Wes Swetzer, however you say his last name.
Well, maybe that's the attitude though too, is that you carry 5 tackles because tackles can play guards, and you only hold. So you have 5 guys that could move to tackle, but they could also play guard to back up the 3 guards. So maybe that's the logic. I don't know.
Yeah, as I said, it just because right now we have what 11 linemen? Is that it's 5 tackles, 3 no 2. We have 10 linemen, which 10 linemen is I think a normal. It's on the high end. I think 10 is usually the highest most a team carries. I think 9 is a sweet spot number, but I think if we lowered that down to 4 and kept another receiver or kept another I know we have a lot of corners, but maybe another safety or somebody that could rotate in potentially or be another guy on special teams. Because also the big guys, when they play special teams, those guys are the starting 5 are usually the ones guarding or blocking for the field goal unit as well. So it's
right.
The big guy special teams are usually not. You don't need the big guys behind to play a lot of special teams at the same time, So it's just odd to me. I think this is interesting.
We'll see after about 4 or 5 weeks whether or not he knows what he's doing or
not. Right.
We'll give him a whole half a season, and then we'll determine if he knows.
No, quarter of a season. We have 4 games. That's it. No,
yeah. We don't give too long of a rope. You're right.
Yep. All right. Well, moving on to the defense. Some maybe surprising, maybe not surprising, depending who you are, is Chase Young and Montez Sweat are starting over the veteran Ryan Kerrigan right now. According to the depth chart, we have Ryan Kerrigan, for the first time in his career, I would imagine, is not on that starting lineup going onto the field, which is really exciting for Montez Sweat. I'm not surprised for Chase Young being a starter.
Well, I was going to say, Chase Young, duh. But
that's really exciting for Montez Sweat. That Montez Sweat looks like he has really shown a lot, and we know how talented he is. He's a big boy that can run like a blazes. I think he ran a 4.41 at the combine as a 290-pound or 280-pound defensive end. I mean, the guy can move. So, extremely athletic, and I'm excited about it. And obviously, Ryan Kerrigan will be in the rotation. He'll be on the field.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too, is Ryan Kerrigan's getting up in age a little bit. Maybe the coaches are thinking, boy, when you have a full tank, you're a beast. So let's let Sweat do the journeyman's work, and then we'll bring you in key situations where you can just peel your ears back and
get to the
go at it.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a good problem to have.
For sure.
Should Kerrigan be starting or not? That's a good problem to have. So.
Yeah, no, and as I said, he'll be playing. Brian Anderson was in fact moved down to the DN position on the depth chart. I know we had spoken about that. He used to be a linebacker, and now he is listed as a D end, which makes sense because the guy can't cover. He is not a cover linebacker. Putting him down low or down on the end of the line to just peel back, play the run, go after the quarterback is something that's where he fits. He's not the best at it, but that is his skill set. So makes sense to me.
So wait, hold on. Who's he going to play? Who's he going to be playing opposite of or behind?
Ryan Anderson right now, according to the depth chart, is backing up Montez Sweat.
Okay. So
Ryan Kerrigan is backing up Chase Young at this moment. That's what it says on here.
Okay, I got you. All right.
And then their 5th D end is they have James Smith-Williams, which was our 7th round draft pick this year from NC State. So, looking at him and looking at his skill set and things like that, and watching a little bit of his highlights and different things like that, he has talent. His thing was he couldn't stay healthy. I mean, he got hurt at the NFL Combine. Like he jumped up and he cut his arm, apparently gashed his arm on the vertical jump. I mean, this guy finds injuries. So, but he hasn't found an injury, knock on wood. He hasn't gotten injured yet.
What was the kicker that injured his leg and was out for the season doing a celebration after making a kick? I can't think of
Oh, crap, yeah.
Not Vinatieri. What was it?
That was an
but where
older
he,
guy, wasn't it?
yeah, he made the kick and he jumped up in the air,
Did
and
he
when
play
he
for the
landed, it was like
Dolphins?
I don't
Was it
remember,
the
but
Dolphins kicker? I don't
it was
remember
a more
either.
well-known kicker, but it was like, okay, you make a kick, you celebrate, and you're knocked out for the season. That's when you
That
don't
is
have very
funny.
good luck. Oh, you're gonna look it up, but
Bill
I went
Gramatica.
Grammatica. That's it. Yep.
Oh, he was Arizona Cardinals kicker, not the Miami one.
Uh,
But yeah, Bill Gramatica.
yeah.
Celebration fail. Blows out his knee. Tore an
Yeah,
ACL.
keep your celebration, stay contained. But
Yeah, that's funny.
so yeah, but if you get hurt at the combine, that you don't have very good luck. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. So he hasn't gotten hurt yet, though. So hey, hopefully he does well. And that's another draft pick making the team. More youth, as we spoke about. We have the safety position, which this was probably the biggest surprise coming out of the defense, in my opinion, where Sean Davis was expected to come in and potentially start on this team, and instead is not even making the 53-man roster. He was cut. And then also, I really liked Jeremy Reeves. He was cut. So we have Cameron Curl, which is not so surprising because he was a draft pick. I thought he was going to make the team in some way, shape, or fashion. But DeShazer Everett, which this seems like a huge special teams play. I know I mentioned a couple, but this guy is definitely a special team specialist, for lack of a better term. But I believe he's even been a captain for us on the special teams. So I think that's where I should have thought about that when I was picking my 53-man rosters, more about the special teams. And I think that's where DeShazer Everett really shined, where he's actually a leader on the special teams units. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. But right now, Troy Apke is listed as the starter along Landon Collins, which I'm all for it. I was not excited about Troy Apke.
I like that.
Yeah, but I was not excited about Troy Apke when we drafted him. I was excited that he had a lot of speed, but he wasn't the best tackler. He didn't get in and tackle the best. He wasn't the best cover guy. He didn't have the best instincts. But you know what? If Jack Del Rio likes him and Ron Rivera like him, I'm excited about it because again, not one of their draft picks, and he beat out somebody they brought in Sean Davis that they thought that he would be the starter, and he made him, I guess, look bad enough where they decided, yep, you're off the team. you're not good enough.
I can't. Every time I see his name, I can't help but think about what Deion Sanders said at the combine.
Yeah, he can run. He can run.
And I'm sure Deion's looking at it, it's like, oh, we got a cornerback that's a white guy, and he's probably looking like, and then all of a sudden he looks up and goes, oh wait, this guy can move.
Yeah, he can move. That's funny. We are speaking of cornerbacks, we are carrying 5 corners, and Greg Stroman earned a spot, another draft pick from the prior coaching staff, making the team. He was a 7th round draft pick in 2018, and he made it on a team with a new coaching staff. That is awesome to see. He was a Virginia Tech guy, I believe, and I'm really excited that he made the team. But he's obviously the 5th corner on the defense. We have Ronald Darby and Kendall Fuller as our starters. Jimmy Moreland will be our starting third down. Our nickel corner, I should say.
Right.
And Fabian Moreau made the team. Danny Johnson, he was an undrafted free agent a couple years back. I think the same year as Greg Stroman, and he made the team as well. Another guy that's really good on special teams. So, and I just love his story. He's just a good dude. Great story coming out of college that finally made a roster. So excited about that. But yeah, as I said, sorry, the linebacker spot is the last one we have to talk about. And Reuben Foster placed on IR again.
Okay, wait, I didn't hear this. Tell me what happened.
I didn't actually know exactly why he was. I was surprised by this. Why was Reuben Foster? Because it seemed like he was healthy going in, and he got off the PUP list, placed on IR.
Do you think that's like a placeholder for him, or you think there's a real injury?
Replacement per source, final cuts,
And remind me, what does that IR mean? How many games do you have to miss? Is it like 8 or 6? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's 8 games that you have to miss. But yeah, it's still, I guess it's still soreness from his knee is what it's coming down. But yeah, he got off the PUP list. I'm thinking, all right, what? So you're going to come back and play, right? But nope, he's back on the IR. And again, it's just, it's like a Junior Galette, the legend that everybody knew about, that he was going to be the game changer on defense, and he just never, ever, ever, ever sees the field for us. Like, this is unbelievable.
Unfortunately, it's like, oh my God, its name just, the tight end we let go finally.
Oh, Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed. Another one of these, oh my God, if he gets on the field, he's going to be unbelievable. Now, we saw a little bit of flashes of him, so Galette and Reuben Foster are a little bit different, but it's basically this, when they get on the field, look out, but they just never get there. And so you got to cut your losses at some point. I'm going to tell you right now, if Reuben Foster doesn't play in the last half of this season, get rid of him. Done. If he's not ready to come in the game on the 9th week of the season, then get rid of him. Don't sit here and think about what coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever.
Yeah,
but my personal opinion.
Fair enough. Well, that is the extent of the roster moves of the 53-man roster. And overall, as we talked about already, the team decided to go younger, which makes sense for a first-year coach trying to build a team. You know, let's see what our young guys have and who we want to sign on for years to come. And right now, I grade this roster around a C+ range with potential to be able to develop to a B by the end of this season. So I don't hate the roster. It's very young. It's very raw. There's a lot of potential coming out of it. But if we're being realistic, it's not an A+ roster or even an A- roster at this point.
No, there's a lot of what if or possibilities. So I get that it's better than average. The upside seems better than average right now. And if they start to show that upside, then they could get to a B. I get your logic behind that.
So, yeah, because obviously you have people like Chase Young, Scary Terry, Antonio Gibson, Dwayne Haskins. These guys could come out and have a huge season, and we're looking at
look at again our front line, Deron Payne and Allen. I mean, come on, they can theoretically they can destroy a pocket, and if you got guys on the edge that are scary, then you can't double team those guys in the middle. So you're right, it's all potential. It could possibly be a scary defense that offenses fear, and that's what I said before, is that my optimism is based on that, is those guys showing up, and between the interior rush and the exterior, that they collapse pockets, and people like Carson Wentz or whatever, and I know we're going to talk about that later, but where quarterbacks can't sit in the pocket. I mean, we've talked about this before, the Carolina Panthers. The reason why Josh Norman was so good is because he had to cover for about 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds. That's all he had to cover for, because that front line was destroying the pocket, and the quarterback had no time. And then it looked like Josh Norman is a shutdown corner. It's like, no, his line made him only have to cover for, I think it was 3.5 seconds. I might be off, but it was a very short amount of time that you had to cover your receivers, because if they didn't throw out the ball in the first 2-3 seconds, they were on their butt. So that's what I hope that this line is, or something comparable to that, and then we have the potential of being something special. And I'm not saying this year, but you know what I'm saying.
Yep. You know what I'm saying. I'm not saying, but you know what I'm saying.
I ain't gonna say.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump right in to the week 1 against the Eagles. Very exciting. And I just wanted to take a minute, since we are talking about 53-man rosters. Let's just take a look at the Eagles roster a little bit. Not as in-depth as we just did, but just kind of some things going on.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. Do what you got to do. I know.
Well, for starters, re-signing Jason Peters is going to prove to be huge for this Eagles team to a 1-year deal because their first-round pick, Andre Dillard, who was actually a really good left tackle for them last year, but he's really good. He's a talented guy. Tore his bicep. Not sure exactly how long he's going to be out for the season, but he's definitely out for week 1 at this point. And this is another reason why I wish we got him. Because right now, we have the question marks at left tackle. But instead, if we got Jason Peters, they would have a huge hole on the left side of their line where Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan, and these guys could really expose this because they have a...
But the guy's old as dirt.
He's freaking talented, dude. He was still rated high on PFF, and the dude knows what he's doing. A wily vet, as they call him. He's going to be... he's not what he once was, but he's still plenty good. And I guarantee you this, he is a league above whoever their backup is at this moment.
Yep.
And if they didn't have Jason Peters, they would have real trouble on that left side of the line where our defensive line that you've been talking about all offseason, that's going to be great. I think it's going to be great. And they would have a field day on whoever that was. Now we're going to have a continuing tough time against a tough offensive line for the Eagles, who consistently have a rated top 5 offensive line. But our defensive line is still solid, so that's fine. But I wish we
got him. The over-under starts at 4 sacks.
4 sacks? We'll get to that.
You thought about it for a second, but yeah.
We'll get to that. Philly's D-line is still scary. They still have Fletcher Cox. They still have Barron and Ingram. They still have Derek Barnett. Their front 4 is a beast of a front 4, like what we hope to have one day. Like, these guys are kind of aging now. Ours are up and coming. But if we could have anything that resembles a defensive line coming out of the Eagles, that's a good defensive line. So their defensive line is still scary. And then they added Darius Slay to their DB room as a corner to help on that back end because they've had problems with corners for a couple years now. And Darius Slay is a legit corner, number 1 corner for them. So this defense is still going to be solid. But where they're going to struggle is offensively, and it's their wide receiver room again. They had a lot of problems with injuries last year. It was really bad. They had a lot of injuries. And this year, they already start out with their first-round pick is listed as doubtful for week 1. Marcus Goodwin, who they got from San Francisco, is listed as out. Alshon Jeffrey is listed as questionable for foot injury, and there was rumors that he was going to be traded, which the owner apparently came out and said that was not true, but that's what, of course, they're going to say. And so this is going to be important, is this wide receiver room, but they still have a great tight end, and they still have a good running back. So they're not dead.
Rieger was brought in to take the top off the defense, right? And that the complaint was that...
Well, they have Deshaun Jackson to take the top off. They got him back.
Okay.
So they still have Deshaun Jackson.
I thought that was the big knock on Philly is that they had to have a sustained drive of 8 or 10 plays to be able to score because they didn't have that big play capability. But you're right, Deshaun Jackson is that guy.
Yeah.
But that's just what I read earlier. But yeah, they didn't take into consideration DJ.
I did not like this first round pick from Jalen Rieger. I thought that was a reach. I thought there was a lot of talented receivers, and Rieger was not even on my radar from TCU. And there's some interesting guys that could have been drafted at that spot at the receiver position that I think they're gonna wish they drafted. One being Chase Claypool, just an example from Pittsburgh. He's 6'5", running a 4.3 40. Dude's a monster, but that's just one example. I think there was many examples that they could have picked.
No, and Philly got the draft grades I saw didn't get a lot of love. They were a C-. I think some cases they did a D. So there wasn't, and these are people that put the other teams up. But Philly was the worst draft grades that I saw across the board. So,
yep,
I get what you're saying.
Continuing on through their offense is Miles Sanders is expected by a lot to have a like a coming out year. He finished last season really strong, so this is a guy that we're going to have to look out for in the last game, or in the first game, I should say. And then I just thought this was interesting. This is not going to have any effect on the game, most likely, because a lot of people like Jalen Hurts. Well, right now he's listed as third on the depth chart behind Nate Sudfeld, which was the guy we drafted a few years back, if you remember. But I just thought that was an interesting thing. But Jalen Hurts still could see the field in many different ways. He's a more versatile quarterback that he could be a interesting guy. But all right, I have five things the Redskins need to do to win this game before we get into predictions. Is there anything else you want to say before I go into these 5 things?
Well, I only have one thing that they need to do to win the game. That's score more
points than the other team. Yep, I saw that.
All right, go ahead.
All right, John Madden.
Sorry, I had to, boom.
The team with the most points usually wins the game. Typically. 95% of the time.
The one that scores more at the end of the fourth quarter tends to win the game most of the time.
Yeah. All right, so we got it. Here we go. 5 things the Redskins need to do to win this game. Number 1 is something that you just talked about earlier, is get to Carson Wentz. This guy is made of glass. He's getting injured all the time. I don't want a dirty hit on him. I don't want something crazy to knock him out of the game. But if we put pressure on him, that could be huge. So that's everybody. You always want to put pressure on the quarterback. But Carson Wentz specifically, you could all of a sudden not have a starting quarterback just on a legal hit because if he's made of glass. So
what year is this for him? 5th year?
He was drafted the same year as Jared Goff. Yeah. This is his 5th year.
So he's got it. How many years has he played a complete season? I know the last 2 he didn't. So I'm trying to think out of 5 years, how many times has he?
Has he?
And I'm not. This is not a gotcha question. I'm just.
No, I know. I don't remember. I know his knock is injuries. I mean, that's his knock. So I don't know if he even has played a whole season. I don't remember what he did in his rookie year.
Was it 2 years ago they won the Super Bowl?
He may have played his whole rookie season. I think he may have played his whole rookie season. And then the year they won the Super Bowl was 3 years ago. And that was, he played most of the season. I think he played 13 games before he finally got hurt. And then the next year he just wasn't the same as far. He didn't play the entire year, but he was even when he did play, he didn't look like the old Carson Wentz. And then last year they ended up making the playoffs, but he actually made it through the whole season, but he got hurt in the playoff game.
Okay, so maybe 2 years out of 5 he's played a complete season, but that's at most.
Right.
But anyway, move along. I agree.
Worries. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, Terry McLaurin needs to show why our fan base loves him so much. This guy is obviously a beast, and I went back and watched the film last year against Detroit, where Darius Slay, the new corner for the Eagles, used to play for Detroit, and Terry was open a few times, like at least 3 times deep, and one should have been a touchdown that Dwayne Haskins missed multiple times because he just wasn't quite there yet. That was Dwayne Haskins' first win, but it wasn't a pretty one. Like, he did not play a very good game, and especially not throwing to Scary Terry. He did not show up. So I want him to have a huge day against this offense, and he can do it. He's a monster receiver. He made Stephon Gilmore last year look silly in a lot of situations, who a lot of people argue was a top cornerback last year. Like, Scary Terry is the real deal, and I want to see a big day out of Scary Terry.
Okay, so let me ask you this before you move on. Do you think Gandy Golden plays into that at all on the other side?
I think it's going to take some build up for Gandy Golden. I don't see him coming out the gate and having a big day yet. Steven Sims is going to get some play. I hope Steven Sims can be effective. And Dontrell Inman is going to be the starter over Gandy Golden to come out. But I hope Gandy Golden comes out by the end of the season as a guy that going into next year could be a legit number 2 receiver or even a number 1 caliber receiver.
Well, and the only reason why I'm saying that is that um, I see the possibility that right now Philly's playing or preparing for Terry McLaurin. And so they're going to be the safety's going to be leaning his way. They're going to be trying to, you know, do what they can to shut him down. And if the other guys can take advantage of that and start making some plays, then they have to. Now they can't do that anymore, and now they start opening the door for McLaurin on one-on-one and things because the other. So I'm thinking there's going to have to be a little bit of that where if the other guys aren't doing anything, then they're going to lean all their extra resources on Terry, and he's going to have a hard time. But if the other guys can take advantage of the opening with them leaning that way and being able to make a few catches and now make the defense play more honest, then I think you're going to see McLaurin maybe shine a lot more, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Well, I'll move into my number 3 because it kind of segues there. Is Haskins needs to hit the open man. As I said, there was times last year where he was not hitting the receivers like he needed to. He's got a whole nother offseason under his belt. Well, kind of an offseason. But he showed towards the end that he got better. He progressed through the season. I talked about this in my video about Dwayne Haskins. And he progressed throughout the year. The film showed that he was capable of throwing the ball anywhere he wants to. He just needs to hit the open guy because there will be open guys in this offense because we have a lot of talent to get open.
Yep.
There's a lot of talent out of the backfield and out of the receiving position that not so much the tight end, but he could be okay. But we have talent where if he just hits the open guy and then eventually, as you're saying, takes enough pressure off where Terry McLaurin can get open. And Terry McLaurin really may only need 2 big plays. Like 2 plays where Terry McLaurin gets behind the defense on a play action or something like that. And all of a sudden Terry McLaurin could have a stat line of 120 yards, 2-3 catches, and 2 touchdowns. And that's huge.
And I think that also hinges on the offensive line being able to keep Haskins from worrying about who was it that said about the trash around their feet? I don't want to mention his name, but
yeah, Alex Smith. No,
no, but I'm just saying that hopefully that obviously Haskins has got to see the field to be able to hit the open man, and I'm hoping that the play calling and the offensive line gives him that opportunity to at least gives him that opportunity to do that, to be able to look downfield without being set on his butt every 5 seconds. Because when that starts happening, then you start looking at the line and you're not looking down the field. So.
Well, this leads into my number 4 of how we're going to
Isn't that amazing how that works?
Limit the ability to get Dwayne Haskins is I think we need to be creative in the run game. This defensive line is not somebody that you decide that, we're just going, like, we're not going to be the Hogs back in the day where we go up to this defensive line and say, we're running at you and run at them. That will lose you games against this Eagles defense, okay? They have a great run defense.
I think Turner's the guy for that.
Yes.
Because he did that very well in Carolina.
So we have a lot of versatile and diverse running backs, diverse styles and things. Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick. Barber's kind of more of a standard running back, but Bryce Love can do it all as well. And then we have Steven Sims that could come around on the end arounds for a creative run game. That is going to be very important going into this game, and that will help keep the pressure off Haskins where the defensive line is guessing where the ball is going to be going. So if you have a good creative run game and get successful, that play action where you find Terry McLaurin deep down the field can be very important. So a diverse run game will be critical in getting this Dwayne Haskins standing up straight. Now, number 5. Number 5 is maybe the most important. Limit the penalties. We have been one of the most consistently penalized teams in the league for who knows how long now, years. We just constantly have penalties, especially in very important key situations where we have that big play that we needed and it comes back with a freaking flag.
Morgan Moses.
Yeah. Limit the penalties, and that will be huge to have a chance to win this game. limit
I think that puts.
the
I
penalties.
think I think you can put that in the duh category, but I understand your point because the Redskins haven't gotten that. But
Right.
normally, I mean, that would be like 101 of any team. Look, don't get a false start, don't get a holding penalty. You know,
Yeah.
unless you're saving your quarterback from absolutely getting killed,
Mhm.
which means you got beat to begin with.
Yeah.
Don't hold and stop. So yeah, I get that. That's like I said, that should be in the duh category, but in this team, it's very much one of the yes. Don't get a lot of penalties.
Right.
But anyway,
So, just to gun through again, get to Carson Wentz. Terry McLaurin needs to show up. Haskins just needs to find the open man and hit him. Creative in the run game and limit the penalties. That is my top 5 takeaway, or top 5 things the Redskins need to do, or the Washington football team needs to do to win this game.
I still like what Del Rio said about his defense. I'll add this: that you cover the run on the way to the quarterback. So you defend against the run, so everybody's trying to get to the quarterback, and oh yeah, if the guy happens to catch or if he hands off the ball and he's in your area, tackle him on the way. So I kind of like that. I mean, it seems obvious, but I just like that of, hey, everybody's on the way to the quarterback, and if they happen to hand it off, cover that on your way to the quarterback.
Gotcha. So this now leaves us with predictions for game number 1. You want to go first or me go first?
No, I want you to go first because I know you're Mr. Pessimism and I'm Mr. Optimism, and I want to leave on a positive note.
I like to call me a realist, but that's
potato. I mean,
that's what I like to call myself. But all right, I think it's going to be a good game. I think we'll be in it until the end, but I don't think this young team has enough to stick around with a very well-coached and experienced team in the Eagles. And I think this one gets away from us late with probably a late touchdown, 27-17. The Redskins go down week 1, but we show some promise. And I think we will be a good team next year, but I don't think it's quite this year. So I think we lose game 1, 27-17.
Okay, well, I look at it differently because I remember last year when this unconditioned or non-conditioned team that couldn't play 60 minutes outplayed Philadelphia in the first half and pretty much ran out of gas in the second half. And so I'm hopeful that we see something similar to the start that we had last year, only they don't falter in the second half. And I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout, but again, if we could do what we did last year in the first half, then we win this game by 7, maybe 27-17, 24-17, something like that.
Okay. So you got 24-17 is your prediction?
Yeah.
And
I don't want to be
we
greedy.
Win. We don't want to be greedy. You don't want to say 47-4?
No, but you remember the game last year. But at halftime,
yes.
At halftime, we were all feeling good. It was like going, wow.
The
this
defense
team is
fell
impressive.
apart. The defense absolutely fell apart.
Of course they did because it was Minuski, right? I mean,
garbage. Garbage
plus
defensive coordinator.
You had a coach that didn't condition them. So if you notice last year, in a lot of games, the Redskins ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. And I don't think that's this team this year. I think they got a coach that knows you got to condition yourself to play 4 quarters. And if the Redskins play 4 quarters, I think they win this game. They are not a worse team than they were in game 1 of last year.
I am rooting for 1,000,000-0 Washington Redskins. I will
Tim,
happily
I know that.
Be so wrong about this prediction. Just want to put that out there. But that is my prediction. 27-17. Eagles take us down game 1, but we fight hard, and it's not a blowout. We don't score a garbage touchdown to make it a 10-point game. I think they score a final touchdown or maybe a final field goal to ice the game, and it's a tough one to lose, but It's a building
Yeah, what
block.
they outscore us like 21-3 in the second half last year, or
At
something
least
stupid like that. We were up 7.
24-3.
I think we were up 17-3 at halftime, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe
They
they
got
got
a
a
touchdown.
touchdown.
They got a touchdown.
So it
Yeah.
was 17-10. You're right, but it was like up until like the last 2 minutes of the first half, it was we were basically handling them, and I just think that again, I'm not saying you should change your prediction. I'm just saying that I don't think our team is worse than it was last year. I think in a lot of ways it's better and it's better coached. So I'm hopeful that it starts much like it did last year, only we don't falter in the second half.
Perfect.
But we don't have Vernon Davis, getting a touchdown, crying over his father's death and all that. So that's a lot of emotion, I'm sure, that drove
And
them.
that touchdown was
But
insane.
Jake Gruden was not a motivator.
That touchdown was,
yes.
He was at the sideline, jumped over a dude in between two guys. And yeah, like it was an insane long play.
I think he was as surprised as anybody else when he jumped and he ended up landing on the ground and was so. I think he was just trying to get a couple extra yards, and he was like, "Let me jump over this guy and try to slide it," and nobody touched him, and it was like, "Hey, I see the end zone."
Yeah, it was awesome. So. Great play. Awesome. All right. Well, let us know what you think down in the comments, what your predictions are, and we'll see who was the closest. All right. Last thing on the day is I just wanted to touch on some other games that we may find some interest in, and I'll let you go ahead and start. Like, what other games are you excited on the first week of NFL football in 7 months or whatever it's been?
Well, and of course I'm always excited about the Redskins, but my biggest thing is the combination of Tom Brady going to Tampa Bay and Cam Newton going to New England. I want to see. I know Tampa Bay is supposed to be this revamped team, or maybe not revamped, but has a lot of weapons, and I want to see how Tom Brady does, and then I want to see what Bill Belichick can do with Cam Newton. So does he have anything left in the tank? Are they going to come out? Is he going to be the old Cam Newton, or which, the New England, that's Belichick. That's what he does. So I don't think he's going to falter, but those are two of my curious games.
If you had Cam Newton versus, if you had the Patriots versus the Steelers or the Patriots versus the Seahawks, I would agree that game is very interesting to me. But Patriots versus Miami does not pique my interest as much. But I'm with you as far as to see what Cam Newton does. And I'm definitely with you on Tampa Bay versus the Saints, and as I said here, or should I say Brady versus Breeze. That will be a fun one to watch. So many weapons, so much offense there, but good defenses as well. You have two really good teams with Tampa Bay and the Saints. I'm definitely excited to watch that one for sure. I hope that's a prime time. Everybody gets to watch that one because that is a fantastic setup. Then we have...
Yeah, hold on.
Did you have another game you wanted to mention? Or
no, I was curious at what the timing of the the Buccaneers and Saints are at 4:25 on Sunday, so that's not the nighttime game, but that's more the 4 o'clock game is always more national than the 1 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, or more.
Yeah, they usually have like 3 games in the 4 o'clock hour, where they'll have like 7 games.
It's prime time, yeah, and then. So yeah, but no. Other than how much I hate the Ravens, and as much as I don't believe that the Browns are going to be what they say the Browns are going to be every year for the last 5 years, but I will be watching that to see if they can somehow upset the Ravens at home.
Perfect. All right. Well, I did not have the New England or the Ravens game, so that's cool that those 2 games I did not see as much interest in personally, but. The Thursday game calls out to me. Houston versus Kansas City should be a barn burner, and I'm here for it. I have a lot of fantasy players in this game, and I'm hoping for 70-65 or something crazy like that. Like this game could get out of hand quickly. I think in the playoffs it was 50 something to 31 or something like that last year. So very exciting game against Houston and Kansas City. Just open off our season on Thursday. I am.
Well, what? Let me just say, which is kind of amazing because I really don't see Houston and Kansas City having that bad of defenses. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
they
like
just
Swiss cheese, but it's apparently just that good of offenses that can just rise to the occasion. But Houston, I think, has got a pretty good defense, don't they?
um. I mean, it depends if J.J. Watt's playing. They don't have Jadeveon Clowney anymore. They don't have or do they? No, they have Tyrann Mathieu. Yeah, so they're right. Tyrann Mathieu didn't move again, did he? I know he was in Houston. Now I'm second guessing myself, but yeah, he's in Houston still. No, he's for the Chiefs. He moved to the Chiefs. So he's in that
Well,
game.
there you
He's
go.
just on the opposite team. But yeah, no. It's obviously Deshaun Watson versus Pat Mahomes. That's what makes these offenses so insanely good. And then they also have tons of weapons. Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, David Johnson coming on the Houston side. Then obviously you have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and the plethora of fast receivers. And then now they have this new running back in Clyde Hilaire. I can never say his name right. But the rookie running back they drafted in the first round. These offenses should go bonkers in this game one, and it's going to be fun. Very exciting to watch. I also have the Seahawks versus Falcons. I'm interested in that one. The Falcons have a great offense. They also brought in Todd Gurley, and they're going in against, obviously, the great team in the Seahawks where they have DK Metcalf. Is Chris Carson going to do well again? I also have the tight end, Will Dissly. I'm curious in that guy. I have him in all my leagues because he was my sleeper pick, so I'm hoping he has a good year. But I like the Seahawks versus Falcons. I think they have two really good teams. Green Bay versus Minnesota, another two playoff teams from last year. Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Good run games with Aaron Jones and Dalvin Cook. Good defenses. Obviously, Green Bay was a much improved defense last season. Minnesota's always been a really good defensive team. So that should be a fun game, and it's a division rivalry. I'm curious about this Dallas-Rams game. I think that Dallas has a really good chance to be good, which is unfortunate for us. I hate them. But I'm also kind of curious at where do the Rams line up this year? There's a lot of up and down feelings on the Rams. Are they good? Are they not good? Are they middle of the road? Where are they at? I know they're in a tough division, so I'm kind of curious.
But they got Sean McVay, right? So they should be great.
I hear you. It's last year was not what they wanted it to be. That's for sure. Could be some Super Bowl hangover. They lost in the Super Bowl. I know that's usually a thing, but
no, wait. LA didn't lose in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they did to the Patriots. It was a garbage Super Bowl. That's why you don't remember it. It was 13-3, but it was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about. I was like, hold on.
No, last year it was Kansas City versus San Francisco. Yeah. With
that
Patty
was
Mahomes.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I thought you got confused on which Redskins coach was on which.
No. No, you're good. No, I was just talking about because 2 seasons ago they went to the Super Bowl and then they had a bad season following the Super Bowl loss, which is kind of typical. There's a drop off for the losing team. They call it the Super Bowl hangover or whatever. So, I'm kind of curious where they're at. They obviously have a really good offense, and their defense is talented with Wade Phillips being the defensive coordinator. So I think this is a good rating game for LA. Like, do they beat Dallas or do they lose to Dallas? Because I think Dallas is a good team. So I'm curious where that lines up. And the last game I'm interested in is Denver versus Tennessee. Obviously, Tennessee was a playoff game. They're really talented. But I love Drew Lock. And I have Denver as my sleeper team this year, as a team that didn't make the playoffs last year and will make the playoffs this year. They don't win their division because they're going against Kansas City defense, but I think they make the playoffs as a wild card, and Drew Lock has a really good year with Jerry Jeudy as a new weapon. They got Melvin Gordon at running back. They still have Phillip Lindsay. They still have a good defense with Von Miller and Harris as a corner. So I like Denver this year, and I will love to watch them. They are the last game on Monday night. They're the last game of week 1, and I will definitely be interested in watching that game.
Well, there you go. So you're pretty much going to watch every game.
Got 6 games out of 16, and then the Redskins, of course. So
No,
six out of
you just said those are the ones you were really interested in. You didn't say that were the only ones you were going to watch.
Oh, well, duh. I'm going to watch every game. Yeah. Well, as much as I can. You know, I don't have NFL Sunday ticket or whatever, but I'm definitely interested in all of them. I may buy that NFL Game Pass again. Probably should do that.
All right, well, hopefully next week we're talking about how much I was right about the Redskins and how wrong you were. But
I will love nothing more. I will be happy with a smile on my face. Not because you're right. I don't like that. That sucks. But I'll be happy that the Redskins won.
I'll take what I can get.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you guys for sticking to the end. Please put any comments. What do you think about this Sunday's game? What do you think about the 53-man roster? Put that down there. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends. And I hope you enjoy the content. But till next time, see ya.
See ya.